Child sex crime case of a former Louisville officer. It disturbed many in the community. Todd Walls admitted to a relationship with a 15-year-old girl while he worked for Louisville police. He quit the force and pleaded guilty back in 1996, but kept getting hired by different police departments. The story back in the headlines now as the state just revoked Walls' license, ending his career 26 years later. But he's filed an appeal because the sex crime involving a child was set aside and expunged. How did it happen? Who's responsible? Why? WDRB investigates, went looking for answers. What do you do if a judge ignores the law?
I can speak as the victim here, and I'm telling you, it makes you feel violated all over again.
It's the question this woman wrestles with day after day.
And wouldn't wish this on anybody.
Questioning how the man who had sex with her when she was 15 and he was a 28-year-old Louisville police officer,
just like I am a spot on his shoe that, they just wiped off.
got the criminal record expunged.
For that to be thrown out, no, it's wrong.
We're not identifying Todd Walls' victim, but we did set out to get her question answered. To start, we reviewed every version of Kentucky's misdemeanor expungement law going back to 1992 and brought in attorney and former judge Benham Sims to weigh in.
I am as pro-expungement as you can be.
He lobbied for and helped write some of the state expungement statutes.
I was shocked.
And even he says Walls' case should not have qualified.
Both Democrats and Republicans said very clearly they did not want this to be a bill to assist people who have sexual offenses or offenses against children. And my goodness, on this case, it involves both.
So how did it happen?
The only record we have was a expungement order that had a notation on it.
Commonwealth Attorney Tom Wine's office prosecuted the case. He showed us paperwork dated July 1st, 2015, signed by now former Jefferson Circuit Court Judge James Shake. We're told Shake didn't just expunge Walls' record, it was vacated, basically dismissed, meaning the conviction itself is gone.
That opened the door for this opportunity to expunge.
Wine says with the case vacated first, Shake expunged Walls' criminal record under a different statute. The expungement law is for someone who'd been acquitted or just arrested, rather than someone who'd pleaded guilty. The difference is what's missing in the law. That provision, blocking sex crimes or crimes against children from being wiped away, didn't apply. Isn't that not violating the spirit of the law?
I'm agreeing with you that it should not have been expunged if there was a conviction. I'm also suggesting that it probably should have never been vacated because of the public trust.
Why not in 2015 stand up and say, hey, something's going down here that isn't right?
I'm not trying to avoid responsibility. I'm responsible for everything that happens in this office, but I have to know about it in order to act on it.
Wine says his prosecutor, now retired John Ballier, did object but didn't send the judge's decision up the chain. Shake has also since retired. He responded to my emails and at first agreed to an interview, but then declined, saying he didn't remember the case and was ill. Mr. Shake, this is Gilbert Coursey from WDRB+WAVE. He also didn't return 3 phone calls. In relation to Todd Walls.
I don't know who this judge, how dare he? How dare he?
There is a law, 6002, that gives judges the right to vacate a conviction. It's most often used when there's been fraud, perjury, or some other circumstance that tainted the case. That did not appear to be an issue with Walls. Remember, WDRB obtained the Crimes Against Children Unit police file. It contained a transcript of a phone call detectives recorded between Walls and the teenage victim as they talked about the details of their sex life. She asks, "Was I good in bed for a 15-year-old?" He responds, "Heck yeah." So nothing can happen with this? Nothing can happen here now?
I've asked our appellate people to look at it.
Why Shake would throw out the guilty plea remains a mystery 7 years later. But the impact matters greatly today because it could allow Walls to get back his badge. He was fired from the Jefferson County Sheriff's Office last month after House Bill 206 took effect. The legislation requires the Kentucky Law Enforcement Council to decertify officers convicted of misdemeanor sex crimes. No license, no job. But with Walls' conviction vacated as if it never happened, it's now the basis for his appeal.
I wish that I could go back and make it never have happened. I can promise you that. But it did.
New developments on this story even this afternoon. Prosecutor Wine says he has no record of a motion to vacate the case against Walls beyond the word vacated handwritten on the expungement order. So he is now filing a motion to reopen this expunged file. Also, the victim has hired her own attorney with the intent to ask the court to reinstate Walls' conviction. She says she had no idea in 2015 that this case was being erased. If you have information about this story or any story you think our Investigates team should look into, you can email us at investigate@WDRB.com or call 502-322-1297.